Hey all, patch 10.1 is on the PTR, dungeons and raid testing begin on the 16th of this month, and once again, casting Mistweaver seems to be on the receiving end of some pretty solid changes. I think the developers' notes explain the biggest changes far better than I could, but for me, the main takeaways are that the PvP talent Chrysalis is going to become a PvE option, and Vivify's cleave healing distribution is being reworked to favor the primary target even more, and the secondary targets a little bit less. That being said, I wanted to look ahead at some prospective builds for both Raiding and Mythic Plus. As always, I base all of this on what works for me, so if you're a dedicated Zoom Weaver or Fist Weaver, you might disagree with some or a lot of what I choose, and why. I'll leave links to all these builds in the description, including the build I run on live, but a lot of my reasoning applies to talents now, in the mid-season update, and in Faraway 10.1. So this is my baseline raid build, which by default assumes I don't need improved detox, paralysis, or even an interrupt. But it has a lot of things that are more for convenience than necessity, so it's easy to take points out and put them elsewhere when needed. Generally speaking, of the three 2-point auras, the movement speed from Windwalking is the least impactful. So if I drop 2 points there and another from Eye of the Tiger, that's 3 points freed up. By dropping these 3 points, one option is I can regain my full crowd control suite. That's paralysis, improved detox, and my interrupt, while taking away disable since I only took that for the shorter route to other talents. Alternatively, I could use those 3 points to pick up Expeditious Fortification for the reduced cooldown on Fortifying Brew, 1 point in Escape from Reality for niche situations, and the base version of Rising Sun Kick purely for its healing potential from Rapid Diffusion, even though I rarely consider it and its mana cost worth pressing over other spells. Before I move on to my Mythic Plus builds, I should point out that Dancing Mists might be gaining a whole lot of value soon if it improves uptime on Soulfang Infusion, which is part of our Season 2 tier set bonus. It's not even testable on PTR yet, and the tooltips leave a lot of unanswered questions, but it goes almost without saying. If having more Renewing Mists means more mana regen, I'm down for it. My Mythic Plus build prioritizes healing over damage, but there's still a lot of hybridity. Most of my DPS comes from Rising Sun Kick, Zen Pulse, and a whole lot of Spinning Crane Kick in between. Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick are mostly for single target bosses or smaller trash packs with downtime, but the main reason I keep points there is for mana regen from Spirit of the Crane. Specific to the current version of our PTR talents, I spec into the new talent Chrysalis for a 45-second reduction on the cooldown of Life Cocoon. That, combined with the Mists of Life talent, makes it a much more frequent oh shit button, and also a quick way to put another Renewing Mist in play if I need the extra cleave coverage immediately. On Live, instead of Chrysalis, I take Font of Life currently, and while both of its benefits are pretty mild, I feel the same way about the alternatives such as Yulon's Whisper or Uplifted Spirits, at least in a Mythic Plus setting. But coming a whole lot sooner with the mid-season patch, the new talent Legacy of Wisdom is just too good to pass up in Mythic Plus, so I take that of course, even at the cost of losing Mending Proliferation. With the addition coming to Thunder Focus Tea, making Enveloping Mist instant when they're used together, I think I'll be taking Focus Thunder, since that helps counter some of the self-inflicted punishment from stacking crit bursts and ignoring haste. It also significantly shortens the initial ramp on Yulon's healing, which is a huge plus for our ability to burst heal reactively. As good as Clouded Focus can be for ramping into burst group healing on fights like Raging Tempest and Herja, I'm tempted by another option, and that's Mending Proliferation, which is just better or additional coverage with my healing amplifiers when I'm casting Enveloping Mist a lot. On the other hand, if I had enough haste to make Invoker's Delight less essential to my Yulon rotation, or if I decided to drop Focus Thunder, I could take Clouded Focus and Mending Proliferation, but since I like to prioritize crit verse for my raid set and for both off specs, and since Focus Thunder helps fill a niche for mobile healing with Thunder Focus Tea and Enveloping Mist, I can't imagine giving up either of them anytime soon. I think it's worth mentioning that even though everyone seems to like Veil of Pride for Mythic Plus, I could see Shaha's Lessons being better for its potential buffs to DPS and healing. I just have to see how often we're going to need a full power Shilun's Gift in Season 2 dungeons, but on the off chance that it's not that often, or if casting at 6+ clouds without Veil does enough to cover most damage, it's a big part of my raid healing setup that I wouldn't mind having in dungeons as well. So that's about it. Hopefully I kept this brief enough. I had a couple requests for a talent update since the mid-season patch is almost here, but I thought I'd use the opportunity to workshop a few builds ahead of the Season 2 testing. As usual, this sub-spec is feeling really unrestrained by talent options, and if you're watching this as someone who hasn't tried casting Mistweaver before, I highly recommend giving it a shot. If you think I'm overlooking an important talent that needs mentioning, or if your preferred playstyle emphasizes different parts of our toolkit, let me know in the comments. I don't think there's only one way to play casting Mistweaver right now, and we've been left a lot of room to personalize and experiment within our spec, which makes me really optimistic for 10.1 and beyond. Until next time, thanks for watching, and have a good one.